Every case you are about to hear is real. Every victim had a name. Some got justice, some are still waiting. None of them should be forgotten. This is the Dark Nordic. Her name was Fadime. She was a student. She was curious. She was brave, in ways that most people will never have to be. And she was living under a death sentence, issued by her own family. This is the first part of her story. A story about a young woman caught between two worlds, who refused to disappear quietly, and everything that refusal cost her. Fadime Şahindal was born on April 2nd, 1975, in a small village outside the city of Elbistan, in the southeastern Kurdish part of Turkey. Her family were farmers. Life was simple, and in many ways, happy. Everyone worked together. People knew their roles. The land, the animals, the seasons. That was the rhythm of life. But even then, there were signs of what was to come. Fadime and her younger sister Songül have both said that they were beaten as children, that even in those early years, the rules were enforced with violence. When Fadime was 7 years old, the family moved to Sweden. Her father, Rami, had already migrated a few years earlier in 1981. Now her mother and the children followed. They settled in the Nyby district of Uppsala. Uppsala, a university town, quiet, intellectual, beautiful. Cobblestone streets and old cathedrals and students on bicycles, a place full of possibility. For Fadime, it would become both her home and her cage. She grew up in Uppsala speaking Swedish. She went to Grambiskullen Elementary School. She made friends. She studied hard. She was bright, and she knew it. At some point, she applied to study social work at Mid-Sweden University in Sundsvall. She was accepted. She never received the letter. Her parents had hidden it from her. They didn't want her to go. A young Kurdish woman leaving home alone, moving to another city, living independently among Swedish students, that was not the life they had planned for her. The letter arrived and disappeared. But Fadime found out by accident, and when she did, she enrolled anyway. She packed her things. She moved to Sundsvall, because Fadime Şahindal, from the very beginning, refused to disappear quietly. But the older she got, the tighter the walls closed in. Her family had plans for her. There would be a marriage, an arranged marriage to a cousin in Turkey. That was the future they had decided. It was not a question. It was not a conversation. It was simply the way things were going to be. Fadime had other ideas. In 1996, she met a young Swedish man named Patrick. They fell in love. She kept it secret at first. She knew exactly what it would mean if her family found out. A Kurdish girl from their family, in a relationship with a Swedish man, that was not just a personal matter. In her family's world, it was a question of honor, the family's reputation, their standing in the community, their name. And honor, once stained, demanded a response. But secrets have a way of rising to the surface. In 1997, they found out. What came next was not a difficult conversation around a kitchen table. It was not a family disagreement that would soften with time. It was violence and threats. Her father, Rahmi, and her brother Mesut made it very clear. This relationship was shameful. Her choices had dishonored the family, and there would be consequences. Fadime went to the police. The police told her to go home and talk to her family. Let that sit for a moment. She had just told them that her father and brother were threatening her life, that she was afraid, that she did not feel safe going back. And the answer she received was to go home and talk to them. This was 1997, in Sweden, a country that prided itself on gender equality, on progressive values, on being a place where everyone was protected under the law. And a young woman walked into a police station and said she was in danger from her own family, and they sent her home. So she went to the media instead. She told her story on Swedish radio, in newspapers, on television. She spoke openly about who she was, what she was experiencing, and what her family had threatened. She used her real name. She showed her real face. She understood that in her situation, anonymity was not safety. It was invisibility, and invisible people are easy to make disappear. She believed, she had to believe, that visibility was protection, that if the whole country knew her name and her face, then her family would not dare to act. She was right. For a while. In 1998, her father and her brother were taken to court. They were convicted of unlawful threats against Fadime. A Swedish court had heard her, had believed her, had ruled in her favor. It felt like a turning point. It felt, finally, like she had won. Then, in June of 1998, on the very day that Fadime and Patrick had planned to move in together, he was killed in a car accident. It had been raining heavily that day. Just like that. He was gone. And Fadime was left alone, grieving the man she loved, still banned from her own family, still living under threat, still not safe. Her father now forbade her from visiting Uppsala at all, because Patrick was buried there, and Rami refused to let her mourn at his grave. Even in her grief, she was controlled. Even in loss, she was not free. A Kurdish-Swedish parliamentarian named Nalin Pekul stepped in to mediate. A compromise was reached. Fadime would stay away from Uppsala. Rahmi would stop pursuing her. For a time, it held. But Fadime did not stop. She rebuilt her life slowly, carefully. She enrolled in new courses. She kept speaking publicly about honor-related violence, not just for herself anymore, but for every girl living under the same shadow, every girl whose university letter had been hidden, every girl who had gone to the police and been sent back home to the people threatening her. She became a voice, a face, a real living person who refused to be erased. And that, as we will see in part 2, is exactly what made her so dangerous to the people who wanted her silent. In the next episode, we will follow Fadime to the Swedish Parliament, to a cold January night in Uppsala, and to the question that Sweden still has not fully answered. What happens when a woman does everything right, and the system still fails her? Her name was Fadime Şahindal, and her story is not over yet. This has been the Dark Nordic. We'll be back next week with another case from the Nordic North.